Alright, well howdy folks. Welcome to this episode of Verne's Misadventures. In this episode we're going to be installing Arch Linux in Virtualbox, but we're going to be doing it with the Deepin Desktop instead of GNOME like we did in the previous video. So this makes for a very nice Arch Linux installation, and so we'll just go ahead and go through this and tell you how it's done, okay? I've done this a few times and it works out quite well. I'm going to be using a few resources for this. I'm going to use this guide here. Here, let me bring that up a little bit. I'm going to be using this guide here on installing Deepin Desktop Environment in Arch Linux on OS Techniques. I'm also going to be using this guide here from Lambda Linux on installing Arch in the Virtualbox. So this guide here shows you how to install Arch with the GNOME desktop environment. So we're going to be skipping the part where we install GNOME and jumping over to the Deepin over here to install the Deepin desktop environment instead. And let me see here. Thirdly, we're going to be using the archlinux.org website, and we're going to do that to download the latest ISO. So we'll go ahead and get that started now. So we'll go ahead and get the latest one going here, which would be 2017-7.1. Okay, and to do that, let me go ahead and zoom this in a little bit so you can see better. What you do is you click up here at the top of the page on the download link, and then that'll take you to this page, of course. And you just scroll down to where you find your country. And I live here in the great state of Texas, which is in the United States. So I'll be going down to the United States. Yep. And I usually just go ahead and click on the ACM. That seems to work quite well. And so from there, I just go ahead and get the one that says x86-64 ISO. So we click that link and we save it. Choose a location. I think for this case we'll just put it in my downloads. You want to make sure you have the latest Arch Linux ISO, because unlike other distros where you can install the operating system quite fine with an older ISO, with a fresh install you're going to run into authentication problems if you don't use the latest one. Alright, so you got your ISO installed. Now this assumes you've already got Virtualbox installed on your computer. As you can see, I've got mine installed and I've got quite a few virtual machines installed on that. But we won't pay any attention to those, and we'll just go ahead and get a new one started here, okay? So we'll go to New, and we will name this Arch with Deepin. It helps if you spell it right. There we go. And let's see here, it didn't pick up on that, so we will make it Linux. And now it figured out that we want Arch Linux. Okay, cool. So we go next. And it wants to know what the memory size is. My computer has quite a bit of memory, 32 gigs. So I'm going to give this virtual machine 8 gigs. Say you have less than, say you have like maybe 4 gigs. You can probably safely give this machine 2 gigs. But it should run okay on 1. I like, more memory is better, but don't cripple the host. That's the rule of thumb here. Alright, moving on. Now it wants to know the hard disk, and we want to just go ahead and do a virtual hard disk. We'll use the VDI default. Next. Dynamically allocated is just fine. Okay, now it's going to try and give you an 8 GB hard drive, and for most people that's not going to be sufficient. So we will bump that up to around 30. And you can certainly make yours bigger if you want to, but for the example here I'm just going to do the 30. And we click Create. Alright, so we got Arch with Deepin. Make sure that's highlighted and then go to your settings. Alright, so General tab. Okay, Arch with Deepin. Let's look at the Advanced. Shared clipboard. Yeah, I'm going to make that bidirectional. And bidirectional. Description. You don't have to fill this out. I just do. All right. Under the system, we'll just take it slow and carefully, and we'll see if we can get it right the first time. All right. So we're already got it set up for 8 gigs of RAM. And go ahead and set that to about half of your available RAM. That'll be all right. Processors. Go ahead and give it half of your available processor cores. This particular computer has an i7, which has 4 cores and 8 threads. So I'm going to give it 4 virtual processors. Go ahead and give it about half of your available processors. You can click this little box here to enable PAE. Okay, now we'll go to acceleration, and those should be already ticked, and we'll just take the defaults. So it looks like we're all set there. Alright, let's look at the display. Okay, go ahead and max out the video memory to 128 megs. That's all you can put. And we're going to enable 3D. Now if I try to enable 2D, I get an error. And it'll tell you right here, so I will not be enabling that. Let's see, now I don't need video capture or remote display because I can do these with the host. And so let's see here. Storage, we've already got that set up. Okay, you might want to make sure that this here is ticked. Use host IO cache. You can, generally speaking, you can just accept the defaults here. Alright, under audio we're going to accept the defaults. Under network, NAT. Now I found that NAT seems to work a little faster. You can certainly put a bridged one if you think you're going to need a if you're going to use some advanced networking features, or maybe SSH. If you don't know what that is, then just use NAT. Like I say, if you are going to use those features, then a bridged adapter is probably better. Even though it'll sacrifice some speed, it'll give you that added capability. But since this is just a simple thing here, we're not going to worry about it too much. Alright, serial ports, we're not going to mess with any serial ports. USB, my computer has USB 3.0, so we will go ahead and enable that. You can set up a shared folder if you want to. I'm not going to. It's as simple as clicking on this plus sign right here, and then go over and find your path, which would be other, and you select a folder on your computer you wanted to share and all that. But like I say, I'm not going to bother with that for this particular one. You can always add it later too. So you're not married to any of these settings. Alright, with that, I think we're all set. Go ahead and click OK. And then you can kind of scroll through here and see what you've done with your settings on this machine too. So let's go ahead and review. Got 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs there, Got a 30 gig hard drive. Yada, 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 yada. Okay, we're good. All right. So, select your new machine and click Start. All right. So, first thing it's going to do is ask you, well, where is the drive that you want to use your ISO with? And we put this in my downloads, I believe. So you just go navigate to it and click the drive and click Open. It'll boot directly to the ISO. There's no reason to boot it onto a disk and try to do it that way. We'll do it all virtually. And so we can click Start. All right. I'm going to put this over here out of our way. Okay, so we're going to boot Arch Linux. Yep. And we'll just press Enter. I'll make sure we capture it. Then we press Enter. Okay, let's see if I can make this a little bigger where everybody can see better. Scale factor, we'll go 50. That's pretty good right there. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have to get our hard drive ready. According to the guide, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to verify that we have an internet connection. So to do that, we'll just go IPAS. Now what that is, IP address show. And this shows that we do indeed have an IP address, right? Yes, we have an INET address right here under ENP0S3 over here, which is going to be our network device. And that's going to be important to know later. So under ENP0S3, we have an INET address over here, 10.02.15.24. So okay, we verified that. And then we can do the LSBLK to see our available drives. Second one, SR0, is our virtual CD-ROM, which has our Arch ISO. And then SDA is our hard drive. Okay, so using that information, we will next go fdisk device SDA. Okay, yeah, I think there should have been a slash there. Yeah, let's put a slash in front of the device. Alright, so press M for help. Now that shows you the possible commands. Alright, strategy they lay out in the guide is for a 10 gig, let me see here, somewhere. I think they wanted to do a 10 gig root. And then we can do the 4 gig swap and leave the rest for hard disk space. First thing we want to do is create a new one. It will be a primary partition, so we press P. It will be the first one. And we'll accept the default start. And then the last one we will put plus 10G. Alright, we created a new partition of the type Linux and the size of 10G. So then we'll go ahead and do our swap. So we'll do new. Will be a primary partition. Default is 2. We'll accept it. Just press enter. We're going to accept the default. And then we will go plus 4G. Now you can set it smaller if you have less memory or more memory on a larger hard drive. You know, you can always make it larger or smaller. A 4 gig swap should be more than enough, and I don't think we'll ever even use it, honestly. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put 4 just to make sure we don't run into any issues. Alright, so it made it the size of 4 gigs. So then we go ready to create our home partition, which would be new. It'll be primary partition. Enter. And the default number is 3. We'll accept it. Enter. We're going to start at the default area. And then we're going to just press enter to use all the remaining available space. Alright. So before we write our changes, let's go ahead and have a look at them by pressing P. And this is what we have so far created. Alrighty. Now if you go back to the menu over here, you'll see that our second one, SDA Tube, is going to be a swap, but we haven't set it as that type. It still says Linux. So what we'll do is we will go to type, which I believe is T. Yep, press T to change the type. Now we're going to make that our second partition, which was our swap. 2. Okay. Now we can type L to list all the types of swaps. And if you look up here, I think it's 83 what we want. No, it's 82. Okay. So up here at 82, you'll see where it says Linux swap. It's in the third column up here. Linux swap. So we'll just type 82, 82, and enter. Change type of Linux to Linux swap. Okay, now let's see what we've got. Type P. And now we've got what we wanted. And we will go ahead and press W to write these changes. Alright, now we can just see what we got, see what we've created. And you'll see here that we have created indeed the partitions. So all that's left now is to format the partitions. So we'll go ahead and do our home and our root partitions first. And to do that, we're going to use the make file system, mkfs dot ext4. So this will make the ext4 file system. And we're going to do that on device. And we want that on SDA 1. Okay? And then we'll press enter. Okay. So now we'll just use the up arrow button on our keyboard. And that will repeat the previous command. But we're going to change that from 1 to 3. So there we go. Now we just press enter. Alright, so now we have formatted both our home and our root partitions. And the only thing left to do now is our swap partition. And to do the swap partition, you simply type make swap mkswap on device SDA Tube. Alright. So then once the swap is made, we're going to turn the swap on. So we just swap on /dev/SDA Tube. Alright. So now when we do the list block command, this is what we end up with. And this comes up as a swap partition as SDA Tube. So now that's activated. So we got 10 gig, 4 gig, and 17 gigs left for our home partition on our little bitty hard drive on our little virtual machine here. So that's about where we want it. Alright, next thing we got to do is mount our file systems. So to do that, we just go mount. Whoops. Yeah, you type mount, M-O-U-N-T, device, SDA 1, and we're going to mount that to the mount point MMT. Okay, Alright, then we're going to make a directory. And this will be a directory for our home to create a new mount point for our home folder. Alright, now we're going to mount device SDA3 to the mount point. Yep. Come on, Verne, learn how to type, will you? Mount / home. Okay. Alright. And so the swap's already activated. There's nothing to do there. So we've got all our partitions activated and or / or mounted. Alright, at this point, it says we're going to modify a file called etc PacMan D mirror list. Okay. And we're actually going to make a copy of that. In case the next operation should create a mistake, we can have a way to reverse it and restart. Yeah. PacMan HD. Boy, I haven't typed in a while. I've been busy working on the Power Stroke and not really working too much on the computer, and it's showing. Alright, so let me walk you through what we're doing right here in this line. Alright, we're going to do a copy. I just put the pointer under here on the white part if you can look, if you can see it. We're doing a copy, right? And we're going to copy this file here that's in etc PacMan D mirror list, and we're going to copy it to etc PacMan D mirror list.backup. Okay, and the reason we're doing that is currently we have a mirror list that came with our installation CD. But we're going to be generating a new one. Before we do that, though, we want to create a backup, and that's what we're doing with this step. And so that has happened, and that is done. All right, now we're going to install something called Reflector. So we're going to synchronize our repository. So PacMan-SYY. Okay, this is a synchronization command. Okay. And so now we're going to use PacMan to install. Now PacMan isn't about the game, the little guy in the game. It's actually short for Package Manager. So anyway, we're going to PacMan-S Reflector. Okay, now that's the name of the package we're going to install. Okay, and anyone wants to know, do we want to do this? Yes, we do. Okay, so PacMan is installed. Now we're ready to use Reflector. Alright, so now we can do Reflector, verbose, L5, sort, rate, IT, now this is going to actually create a list of 5 mirrors. It's going to sort them by the rate at which they can be accessed. So in order to speed of access, right? And it's going to save that list to pacmand/mirror_list, which is the one that we already created the backup for. So it's going to rewrite the mirror list here. Alright, so I'm going to press enter. So now it's rating them. Okay. So supposedly that's done. And we can go ahead and take a look to see what we've created. You can do that by typing cat etc d mirror list. And so this is the list that was actually created there. See, right here behind the hash marks, which is indicates a comment, right? And it says arch list mirror list generated by Reflector. And if you look down here, is a server equals, and it came up with 5 servers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are all the mirrors that can be accessed in order of the speed of access, basically. So that's pretty cool. We're going to be able to have a faster rate of access now. So now that we've updated our mirrors, we need to do another synchronization. So to do that, we'll capture the screen here, and we'll type PacMan -SYY. So in other words, this is checking for updates. Okay. Well, now that we've got our database all synchronized and ready to go, we're ready to actually begin installing an operating system. So to do that, we type pacstrap to mount. Now remember, mount was our root file system, the first partition we created. And we're going to put in that mount point, we're going to put base and a space and then base develop. Okay, so there's 2 packages we're going to install. And we press enter. And this will work for a little while. Alright, so now that we have installed the base system, we are actually ready to begin configuring it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to need to create what's called an fstab file. So we will go, let's see here, gen fstab dash capital U little p slash nt. Okay, look it over real quickly, check the spelling, and it looks like we're okay. Let's go ahead and press enter. Alright. Now we can see what was created by doing a cat now etc fstab. And so there is the fstab file that we just created. Notice that it took the UUIDs for each of our partitions, and so it has it's mounted a root partition, a home partition, and a swap partition. So, you know, that's pretty doggone cool. And then you could do the block ID. So let's do. If you wanted to, you could verify that the block ID actually matches. So SDA 1, which is our root partition, you can match up that number there, and it ends with 9113 up there by the slash there, which is the root. And then the swap partition ends with 29E9. And if you look down here on the block ID command output there, it's 29E9. So you can go through and verify all that if you like. I've never had an issue with this. It's always worked. But it's kind of interesting to learn about it if you care about such things. So let's go ahead and continue with our installation by we're going to change root into the system we've just installed now. Because right now we're still using the installation CD's root. So we do that by typing arch, change root, mount, and dash. Okay, cool. So once that's typed out and verified, we press enter. Now see how our prompt has changed? That tells you that you've changed root into the new system. And we can begin configuring a few things here. So in the next step, we're going to make a couple configuration changes to the file, and we're going to be using nano. So we'll just go nano etc locale .gen. Okay, and so see how all these different locales are commented out right now? And what we're going to do is basically go through and we're going to delete the comment to make them active. And we're going to do the two English ones because I live in the United States, so I'm going to be doing these two here. And then once that's complete, you just do Control O to write out, Enter to accept, and Control X to close the editor. Alright. So once you've made the selection, you need to run the command. So you do locale gen -gen, and it has taken the two that we've selected and done the generation. Okay. So now we're going to echo equals en. Okay, now according to the guide, they want you to put GB because the person who wrote the guide is in Great Britain, but I live in the United States, so I'm going to be putting US en US dot UTF-8. As you can see on my output for the locale gen, that's basically what I'll be putting here. UTF-8. Okay. And then we put space and greater than sign into etc locale config file. Alright, double checking. Looks good. Enter. Alrighty, now we're going to do an export. Language equals English. US dot UTF -8 and enter. Now, if you don't live in the US, I would recommend that you look at the Arch Wiki to try to look for help for what you should put there. Now, this next step here is not even necessary if you live in the US. They're calling for me to write Keymap equals UK, but by default, the Keymap is US, so that's what I want. But I'll go ahead and show you just in case you need to edit the file for your use. So it says you're actually going to create one. So we're going to go nano etc vconsole .config and OK. Then you'll add the following line. Keymap equals US. And then Control O. Now if you live in the UK, you'll put UK there. Then Control O to write it out, Enter to accept, Control X to close. Now we can configure our time zone. So we're going to go ahead and ls, which is list, user, share, zone info slash. Alright, so what we're going to do is basically be drilling down into the available settings here. Now I live in America, right? So I would go pick out America from this list and add it to this string here. And we put America. Enter. Now I live in the central time zone in America, which would be Chicago, which I've learned from installing other distros. So again, up, and then I would type Chicago. So if you live in a different time zone, then you'd find a city that would be in the same time zone as your city you live in from this list, and you would add it to here instead of Chicago. Anyway, I hope that's clear enough. If not, ask me a question in the comments, and I'll try to answer you more clearly there. So once you've decided on where your time zone matches your requirements, you need to create a link. So before you can create a link, you have to actually remove the existing one. So the first thing to do is go remove etc local time. Okay, now you can create a link. So you go ln-s space -s. There we go. Space user share zone info, and then start copying from the line up here above, America, or your country, and your city, which is my case will be Chicago. All right. Zone, subzone. Okay, and then put a space /etc local time. Okay. And then we do HWCLSK. SYSTOHC, and this will set the system clock to UTC time. Alright, now we can verify that it's correct by typing date, and it is July 19th at 20:51 Central Time. And I verify that by looking over the cable box over my shoulder, and it looks good to me. Alright, so now we can name our host. And we do that by giving our operating system, the computer, a name. So I'm going to call mine, let me see, Echo Arch dash Deepin. Okay, so you can do the second part here after echo. You can put any name you want to use for your computer. I just did this to kind of keep it simple. So that we're going to name our computer Arch Deepin and enter. All right. Okay, now we're going to have to edit the host file and add this name as a, remember this name that you chose, Arch Deepin, in my case. And we're going to add this to the host file by editing it using nano. Nano, let's see, hosts. All right. So if we go down here where you see the home part, 127.0.0.0 or 0.0.1, okay, you go through localhost, local domain, localhost. Now what we're going to do now is we're just going to set an alias for localhost with our name that we've chosen. And we just do, we set it with arch-deepin. Okay, and so that takes care of that. Control O to write it, enter to accept, Control X to close. Alright, next thing we're going to do is get our multi-lib repository set up. And to do that, we edit a file. So we go to nano, etc, pacman.d, no, pacman.config. Alright, nano, etc, pacman, config. Enter. Alright, so we scroll on down this file here. We're going to be looking for multi-lib. Now this is going to actually allow us to install 32-bit software on our 64-bit operating system. So if you see here that you've got the core, you got the extra, you see how they're not commented out? So you got core include, extra include, right? Community include. We're going to do the same thing with the multi-lib. We're just going to remove the comments. Now we don't want testing because that'll give us unstable software. We'll just get the regular multi-lib. Okay. And then in this same file, we can go down and add support for the Yard package tool. And we do that by going down to Custom. Yeah. Arch Linux FR. Okay, so we just go over here. Arch Linux FR. You want to make sure you spell all this stuff correctly. Double check, triple check. Arch Linux FR. Okay. And then if you forget to capitalize here, it will not work properly. Never. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm double checking my typing and I have a typo here. It should have been HTTP and I put HTTPO for whatever stupid reason. Okay, so repo.archlinux.fr/archstring. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, so now once those have all been added, I think I can actually add a line here. Leave a little space. Alright, so we Control O to write it out, Enter to accept, and Control X to close. And with that done, we can do the synchronization now that we've added a couple of repos. Okay. Now we're going to look. We got a core, we got extra, we got community. Now we should have multi-lib. Should come up next after this one finishes synchronizing. Apparently it's going to be all day about it. Okay, now we got multi-lib and Arch FR. So, good. That's a good sign that everything is lovely. Alright, so now it says recommend the update the whole system. So to do that, we do PacMan -syu system update. Okay, and we're all up to date. Alright, so at this point we're going to create a password for the root account. So you'll choose a password that you can remember, or write it down on a piece of paper. Don't forget it. That's the point. Don't forget it. So type PASSWD and press enter, and then you'll type your new password. And once you've done it, you've entered it twice and they match, it'll say it has updated successfully. Okay, so then the next thing is we can add a user with sudo privileges. So we're going to do that by typing user add users G Alright, then after you've typed all this, just as I've typed it here, then you'll put your username. I'm just going to use my name. But don't put my name on yours unless you want to use that as your username. You can put your name there, or whatever your name you choose to use. And then press enter. Alright. Now you're going to install you're going to assign a password to the user, and to do that you simply just put password like you did for the root, only you're going to add the username behind it. And go ahead and set. And you set your password for your user as well. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to install sudo so that we can be sudoers. And we even have the right to install things and make changes under our username without having to go to the root name. So let's go ahead and install sudo by going PacMan S and sudo. Yes, we do. Okay, that's done. With sudo installed, next thing we got to do is configure the sudoers file. And to do that, we simply do this. Here we go. Editor. Whoops. Caps lock. Where's caps lock? Here it is. Editor equals nano space by sudo. And now we could use nano to edit the sudoers file. And all we want to do here, since we've added our username as being part of the wheel, all we have to do now is scroll down near where it says something about root. Here we go. See, there's root, all equals all. And then we can make any member of the wheel group all equals all by simply uncommenting that. So there's that. See? So now wheel all equals all. And because as a user we were added to the wheel when we did the special command to add the user, so anything that the wheel can do, we can do. So when that's done, you simply do Control O, enter to set changes, and Control X to close. And that's done. Alright, well, the only thing left to do now before we can actually restart into our newly installed Arch system is install a bootloader. So to do that, we're going to install grub. Yes, grub. Right? Yes. That installs the installer. Now we can actually run the install program to install it on our hard drive. So to do that, we go grub install on device SDA. And we press enter. Installation finished, no error reported. That sounds good. Okay, now we got to make a config file. So we go grub, make config, -o, /boot, grub.config, CFG. Alright, double check. Looks good, looks good. Boot grub, and enter. Alright. So that has made our configuration file. So the next step is to unmount the mounted file systems and reboot the system. So let's go ahead. Okay, we're going to go exit to exit the change root. Now we can do the other stuff. Umount home. Okay. And then we just erase home. And that's it. Everything's all unmounted. Now we can reboot. But I'm actually going to use the power off command because I have to expel the virtual CD. We want to remove that, so we'll do it this way. Okay. Somewhere in here. If you go look over here on storage, make sure that your Arch with Deepin system is selected here. And you go under storage. You want to look under the secondary master, the optical drive. You can right click on that and remove disk from virtual drive. Just make sure that you've selected the optical drive and not your hard drive, because you don't want to spit out your hard drive. Okay, once that's done, you'll be ready to actually click start and boot into your new system. So, look at that. So, it's booting. Awesome. Okay, and so we can log in as our username. So I'll type my name and my password. Cool. And so there I am, Verne at Arch Deepin. Next steps are to configure the network. So let's see. Oops. Capture the screen here. IP link. So if you use the IP link, you'll notice that we have no IP address. And that is because we have to do some configuration work. We do that through editing a simple file. Well, we actually got to create a file. Take note of the fact that the network device is ENP0S3. Now you're installing Virtualbox, so I expect that yours will be the same, ENP0S3. On hardware, you'd want to look to be sure. So you're going to have the LO, and then you're going to have the second one will be your actual network device. So you'll take note of that, what it's called, and it's ENP0S3. So you just write that down, or whatever it takes to remember that. Sudo nano. And then etc systemd network S3 .network. Okay. And then the first time you use sudo, you'll get this little warning here about, you know, respect privacy, great power comes great responsibility, yada, yada, yada. So you go ahead and put your password. It helps if you type it properly. Okay, then brackets match name equals 0S3 bracket network bracket no J. Okay, DHCP equals yes. Okay, with that done, Control O, enter. See how I took it this time? Control X. Alright. So we have verified that sudo works. So before going any further, I'm just going to go ahead and type SU and put the password. And now I've logged in as the super user, the root user basically. And I won't have to type sudo with every command because we've got quite a few commands left to make here. So with that, system control, restart, system D dash, oh my goodness, dash network D. Alright. System D dash network D. Yeah. Okay. So that was successful. Now we can just arrow up and then use left arrow, delete, restart, and type enable. And there we go. We created the symlinks, yada yada yada. So now, when we do the IP link, you see that we find that our network device is up. But now, if we do the IPS, we actually should have an INET address, and it looks to me that we do. So we have an IP address, but we don't have a way to access the internet. So the next thing we got to do is we have to edit our etc resolve file. And so once again we go nano etc resolve dot conf enter. Okay, and so we come on down here past all that, and we can leave a space, and we're going to type name server, and this will be Google's, and it's 8.8. And then same thing again. Now this will be an alternate one in case the first one's not available. The 8.8.4.4. And we can leave another space. And then we can go Control O to write, Enter to accept, Control X to close. Alright, with that done, well, let's check IP. Yes. And if you look here, we've got the we have an internet address, right? IP address, and then we can ping 3 and there you have it. We were able to connect them. So we have got it set up. Everything seems to work. We were able to access the internet. So with that, we can double check that we can actually get hold of our repos by doing a quick we don't need sudo if we're root since we did the su PacMan -syu. And everything's up to date there. Alright, next thing. We're going to install the X environment. Then we're going to install the Virtualbox packages. And then we're going to do a little command that actually makes adds our username to the group of users that can actually use the Virtualbox stuff. So let's get started by first installing the x.org, the xorg stuff. And to do that, we simply go sudo. Oh no, we don't need sudo. Just do PacMan. Capture the screen. PacMan s xorg server xorg xinit xorg utils xorg server utils Mesa xorg twm xterm xorg clock should have been x clock. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, looks good. Enter. Nice. All right, so we'll just delete. Well, I guess we'll omit those those few that they couldn't find. See if we can go through that way. Maybe we've changed some things since he wrote the guide, since I've done my last install, which is possible. All right, so we'll get rid of xorg server utils. And xorg utils. See what happens then. Okay, yeah. All right, there's 3 providers. Now normally if you were going to have an NVIDIA video card, you would want to choose one of the NVIDIAs. And there's 2 choices, and depending on which driver would be appropriate for your video card, you would choose that one. We're using Virtualbox, and Virtualbox will use its virtual drivers and all that. So we're going to use the first option. And we can just press enter to accept the default. And then just type yes to accept. Alright, so the next step, once you get your xorg stuff installed, is to get ready to install your Virtualbox extensions and basically your Virtualbox drivers. But before you can do that, you actually have to install the Linux headers. So let's get that done next. And yes. Okay, so with that done, now we'll be able to build the Virtualbox guest utilities. So to do that, we need to install these packages. So PacMan s utilities. Okay, double check my typing. That looks good. Alright, so it's only 2 packages. Next thing to do is we're going to add our user to the group that can use the Virtualbox extension. So we definitely want to do that. User mod. -A -G VBox SF VBox SF. Okay, and then put your username that you chose before and press enter. Alright, so now when we log in, we should be able to use the extensions, which will allow us to go and use full screen and do the clipboard and the whole 9 yards. Now all of this is going to require a reboot before we can use any of it. So at this time we're going to reboot the machine. Just type reboot. And we can change the view to scale factor 100% and go to view full screen. And we log in. Alright. So now we can test our X by typing start X, I believe. And there we have it. Alright, so you test by running your mouse over this. You look to see if the clock works. You got, you should have 3 boxes. We see we got 2 of them. So we haven't quite got the Virtualbox going. Oh, I see. There's one under here, hiding from us. Yeah, there it is. So anyway, to close these, you just go ahead and click exit. So the X is working. I mean, we can capture and type in all these boxes and see how they respond to us mousing over them. The clock actually shows the correct time, I believe. So these are all good things. We'll press again. Alright. So I am going to come out of full screen and I'm going to go to view, scaled mode, get large again, scale factor 150. Yeah, I like that. That'll keep us on the screen where y'all can see. At this point, we can install our desktop. So we go ahead and do the Deepin Desktop install. Install Deepin and Deepin Extra. So we'll go PacMan, sudo, -S. Okay. Alright, yeah, we're going to want all this stuff. So we'll just go enter. And again, enter. And again, enter. Right on. Yes. So this will take a minute or two to install for sure. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we have to configure the Light DM desktop manager that Deepin uses. So what we got to do is we're going to use nano again. So we got sudo, catch it, nano, and it's an Etsy Light DM. See. Okay. And so we're looking for the line that says greeter session equals light DM. As I recall, the way I found it, basically you can scroll to the bottom of the file and then work your way up. Let's see. Yeah, we don't want that. Greeter session. Here we go. This one right here. Greeter session equals example dash GTK dash no, right? Okay, you want to uncomment that, and you're going to make the following change, and we're going to make it greeter session equals, so we want all that, we want to delete basically everything else. Okay, and then you're going to type light DM dash deepin dash greeter. Okay, and then it's done. So then we Control O, enter, and Control X. All right, at this point we're going to go ahead and go to scale factor of 100%. All right, and I know that makes it a little hard to see, but it's fixing to jump into the desktop environment, and I don't want it to do it in a scaled fashion. So let's go ahead and go to Control. Yeah, oops. So go ahead and put it in full screen mode. Sudo system control start lightdm.service. Okay. And there it is. It's alive. How about that? How about that? So we have the Deepin Desktop on Arch Linux. And so let's see here. If we go to terminal. Here's our Deepin terminal. Now I know it's kind of sickening that we worked with the terminal so far, and now and now we're going to mess with the terminal even more. But there's a couple things we have left to do. And so we actually want to go and enable the Light DM service. So let me go ahead and zoom in here. What have I done here? Oh. Yeah, I'll make that a little larger, and then we'll make this larger. Here we go. So Okay, now it'll start that whenever it starts the system. And so we should be good to go. But we can test that right now by simply rebooting. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's see here. Control this one. Close that. And we'll click that. And we'll restart. And let's see how she starts up. Okay, it's doing all this all by itself. There we are. All right, so let's have a quick look around the old around the Deepin Desktop real quick, and then okay. So if you click on the little gear here, it opens up the side panel, and you can go to your different categories over here, right? And then you have a couple different menus there as well, pages. So time and date, that brings that up, and then you can kind of scroll as well to different settings. So it's a really nice side panel. Got a lot of features in it, and when you're done messing around with that, you go over here. Now if you click over here, it'll show you your available applications. Just has a big cluster there. And then if you click here, it'll give you a categorical view. So you know, if you wanted system tools, they're right here. And then, like I say, we had the Deepin terminal open before. So if you want to add something to the dock, just right click it and then click dock. And so let's go ahead and get Screen Fetch installed. And to do that, we simply go sudo PacMan -s and that's going to be Screen Fetch. Okay, so now we can test it. We'll just go clear. Screen Fetch. Okay, so now let's see here. It says here we're running Deepin 15.4.1. So the next thing to do is to modify our bash RC file to where that'll start automatically. And to do that, we just go sudo the tilde, which is the button above the tab key. You'll shift for it. /dot RC. Oops, I messed up. Sorry, I forgot to put nano. Here we go. Now we're into something here. Yeah, so then we come on down here to the bottom of the file, leave a little space, and we make us a quick comment. And then that's done. Control O, enter to accept, Control X to close. Now, when we open the terminal, we should see Screen Fetch. And there it is. Cool. And let's see, control equal, we'll zoom in to where you can actually see what you're looking at there. If we return to the guide here, so that's all done. Now, if we go back to the other guide, it's got some more software we can install. We should be able to copy and paste directly from the guide into the terminal now. Among other things, it says to install Net Tools, so let's get that done. Net Tools. Alright, so that's in. And what that does is basically allow you to use ifconfig, like so many other Linux distros use, instead of the IPAS. And so it's got your Net Tools there. Okay, next we can install this software. Oh, let me show you what I'm doing. That might be nice. Okay, so yeah, I've highlighted all this. And I'm just going to right click, copy. Okay, then I'm going to move this back to the other screen to get it out of the way. Now over here, should be able to paste, and there it is, because we have the extensions enabled. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and install LibreOffice. And Thunderbird. And we'll go with first choice. And while that's doing that, we'll go ahead and get this ready over here. And that is to go over here and get ready to install the codecs. And so now the GStreamer has been deprecated, so we'll skip that part of it. But we can copy the rest of this line here. We'll just leave GStreamer out and copy. And then when that's ready, we'll be able to just put paste, and we'll be ready to put all that in there. See here with this Deepin Desktop here, let me minimize this terminal. There's not much to see anyway right now. You right click on the screen there, you can do set wallpaper. And look at here, all these nice wallpapers you got here. Right out of the box, you get a nice wide selection. I like that one, that was neat. And there's this one. Alright, that's finally done. Alright, so then we can go ahead and paste the line we had already copied from the guide that had all of the codecs on it. and put the password. Okay, so that's got our codecs. The next thing to do is we can install Yaourt so that we can get the community packages. I'm just going to copy this line off. It's a short line. You'll see it when I paste it here. Paste. And that's just that sudo PacMan s Yaourt. And so this will let you install Yaourt. With that done, we can actually install Package Manager. So we'll use Yaourt to find PAMAC. Looks like number one's our best choice, so we'll just put 1 and enter. So let me see. Edit package build? No. We don't want to edit it. And you want to edit the install? No. Do we want to continue building? Yes. Proceed with the installation? Yes. Okay. All right, now it wants to know again, you want to continue, and say yes. Yes. All right. So now should be a package manager when we go ahead and go in here. So let's see here. Let's look in here. Type PAMAC. Yeah, and it comes up under Add Remove Software right here. And that's your PAMAC. So, let's see if I can find it here. We'll pin it to the dock. Oh, it's this package here. It's the box, the packages. Okay, so we'll dock this. And this will let us know. We'll be good there. So now we can use it to install some other stuff. Because if you look, I don't think we have hardly any games. Let me see. Here. No, we don't have any games at all. So, like, you go over here, you can search for games. Well, this will show you some games you could get here. Isle Riot. And we'll apply that one. Yeah. Put your password. Cool. So with that done, then we should have an entry in the games now. Yeah, we do. Game. And we have Isle Riot Solitaire. There it is. Game. Select game. And then, like, say, if you wanted to, I'm partial to free cell myself, so I'm down here to free cell. And there it is. You can play free cell. How about that? So there you go. You got one game. That gives you an idea how you can add and remove software now. So we actually have something usable out of it now. It's pretty much everything I wanted to show you here, I think. I've got it installed. Now, what we can also do is that, let me see here. If we go under System, it should be Deepin File Manager. Oh, software update right here. So let's have a check. And so you can actually install updates with this rather than use Terminal, if you so chose. We should be up to date, so we'll go ahead and run the check. We have installed some new stuff, but I mean, we just installed it, so it should be the latest version, but we never know. All up to date. But there it is. And you'll receive notices now that this is installed that there are updates available so that you can install them. So there you have it. You got Arch Linux with the Deepin Desktop on Virtualbox. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope it was helpful to you. If you have any questions about anything I covered here, please let me know in the comments. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, a thumbs down if you really thought I did a miserable job, and I would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel if you would choose to do so. Hey, thanks for watching. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.